The next step here on 29 is building the slipper clutch. It's pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of difficulty to it. Again, it's just making sure you get all the pieces and parts in the right place. We're going to start off with the spur gear, and what I've done off camera was I've cleaned this off with some denatured alcohol on both sides. There's can be some grease on there from the manufacturing process that'll keep the slipper pads from actually sticking as well. Take a slipper pad, go ahead and peel off the little sticker on the back here, which is actually proving to be more difficult than it should be. Make sure that you only get the tape and not the cover and not the tape. It's a little bit shiny and it's sticky on that side, and we're going to place that onto the spur gear. You only get one good shot, so make it good. Use your fingers and press it on. Make sure you don't have any oils or greases on your finger. We're going to do the same on the second side. See if this paper comes off any easier. There we go. So we got the slipper pads on, and it does have to set down inside of the little star-shaped groove. It can't be on top of it because it does have to be flat and smooth. Okay, let's get our transmission. And we're going to start from the back, and we're going to take the slipper plate here, and you'll notice that it's flat on one side and beveled on the other side. We're going to take the side with the bevels and stuff and put it towards the transmission. We're going to slide it over the shaft, and it is grooved, so we're going to push that all the way down. Just like so. Then we're going to take the metal plate, which is a 1mm slipper plate. We're going to put that down next. Revolve it around until it slips over the little notch in the, come on, there we go, just like so. Now let's take this little plastic AX31108-8. It was hard for me to find. It actually came off my tree, and thank God I keep all of that stuff in the original box, and it was in the bottom of the box. Going to press that down on there. Then we are going to take the spur gear, put it over that just like so, and take our second slipper plate, put it down on top, and then we have a spring which we're going to put on there. But first, before we do that, I always like to break the springs in, because once you put them down and screw them in, they can get a little bit loose. So if you do this, it actually just kind of breaks the spring in a little bit. You don't have to, but I like to do that. And then we are going to put the nut on. We're going to tighten the nut down so that there's 6 millimeters in distance between the bottom of the nut and the slipper plate itself. This can always be readjusted later. I'm going to hold the gear, tighten that down. Actually, I'm going to put my pinky on the little cup here to hold everything together while holding it. I'm going to go ahead and put that down to the suggested 6 millimeters, just kind of eyeballing it here. And it looks like we're getting close. Okay. That, my friends, is the slipper. Alright, on to step 30, installing the motor mount onto the motor. This step, to me, has always been fun, because they're awkward, to say the least. Okay, let's start with these two pieces. We have AX31106 3 and 4. 4 is just a flat plate, and 3 is a thicker plate, and it's got some little knobs on the ends here and whatnot. Okay, first thing we need to do is put these two plates together, and we're going to take these two little nubs here, and they're going to go into the two larger holes on the plate. However, you do need to make sure that when those go on, that the through holes line up, and as you can see, it does not on this one, so I'm going to flip it around, and hopefully that will do the trick. Yes. Okay, now you can see how the through holes here line up. And it sandwiches them together. Now the tricky part. Here's your motor. I'm going to assume that it's going to work the same way that we see here, so we're going to put the motor in this position here, and we are going to line up these two holes with what's looking to be these two holes. And I'm going to do that by dropping a screw down in and peering underneath and lining it up, and then dropping the second one in, kind of moving it around until we find the hole. There we go. Lines up just fine. For now, I am not going to use any Loctite on there. You can if you would like. It is metal to metal, and it does have the potential to come loose. So if you choose, you can use Loctite on there. You're going to want to secure these down fairly tight. You're not going to want to crack the plastic, but you don't want them to be loose. It's going to look a little off-centered on the motor, but that's the way it goes. Just like that. Now we're going to put the pinion gear in, and it calls for a little bit of Loctite on the little grub screw. I like to use a little extra on these usually. You don't want them to come out. I'm going to put that in and stick the pinion gear on. There is a flat spot on the shaft. That flat spot you want to line up with this little slot here. And then go ahead and put the pinion gear on. And for now, I'm just going to snug it. I'm not going to completely tighten it down because we are actually going to adjust it in a minute. So I'm just going to snug that down, and this is what the product looks like now. And we will now move on to the next step of mounting the motor onto the transmission housing.